Hello. So today I wanted to just talk about some of the habits that I keep to maintain an optimistic mindset. So the reason for this is because I feel like when you're optimistic, you feel like you have some measure of control over the direction of your life, like that you have a sense of purpose. Things may not always go your way and you may not always be happy. That's not really what it's about. I think it's more about, having some kind of hope, having hope, and also just feeling connected. Like you have inherent meaning, that you're valuable, that your life is worth living. So here are some of the things that I do. First is to express gratitude for the things that I value in my life. I caught myself the other day kind of, I think sometimes we get overwhelmed by, just being a grown up, being a person. And sometimes we can feel like people are asking a lot of us when they aren't necessarily doing that. It just, it can just be how you feel in the moment when you're feeling a little bit stressed out and like there's a lot going on. It can be easy to see the things that are actually blessings in our lives as burdens. And I had a bit of a kind of breakthrough the other day where I was feeling kind of annoyed and just like, I don't want to do anything. And I realized that, it's a little bit self-indulgent to feel that way. Like, if you don't feel like doing anything, then just literally take that time for yourself for like 10-15 minutes if you can, and don't do anything. But I found myself feeling overwhelmed by the responsibility of very basic things like just taking care of my cat and being there for my partner. And it's not really, it's not anything that they did. It's just, sometimes you don't get enough sleep and then things feel more difficult. So sometimes the easiest remedy for that is to just remind yourself that it's a blessing to have a family, to have people who love you, to have a home that you need to maintain. So especially in the place where I live in South Africa, and there's great inequality, unfortunately. Honestly, it's very heartbreaking to see every day how even just basic dignity is denied to some people through institutional segregation. We haven't really gotten over it the way we like to think we have, unfortunately. And a lot of people don't like to look that in the face. So it's just a constant reminder to me to really, 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 really be grateful for the responsibilities that I have, because it means that I have a life, and it means that there are people that care about me, and I've got things to take care of. That's not a bad thing. So that's my first thing, expressing gratitude for my responsibilities and for my family and for the things I have. Secondly is to seek out delight, because I think a lot of us can fall into the trap of just losing touch with our inner child. So this is about, finding that kind of sense of innocence again and just relishing in something that you find delightful, whether that's looking at videos of baby animals being adorable, or, you know, going out and smelling flowers, or really whatever. It's personal, you know, but for me it really it really is very valuable to just reconnect with that childlike sense of wonder and being delighted by very simple sensual pleasures, you know, like beautiful colors, or a gentle breeze, or some sunshine, you know, just very, very simple things that make you feel like a happy kid again. Especially if you have a lot of memories of not being a happy kid, you know, maybe then it's especially valuable to kind of nurture that innocence. Then the second thing is actually, the third thing is nurturing something. So whether you garden, or, you know, just take care of houseplants, or having a pet that you care for, or a personal project that you put effort in towards, you know, it can be really anything, but something that you take the time and effort to really care for and that you put love into, that isn't an obligation necessarily, but it can be, you know. Obligation isn't bad. I think it can just become heavy in our minds, but it's, you know, it's just a matter of perspective. Like I said before, sometimes your obligations are blessings. So yeah, I think nurturing something is really valuable when you can see how your effort over time can really make a difference, can grow, whether it's a relationship that you're nurturing, or something physical, whether it's, you know, I like doing kind of calisthenics stuff. I find that also a type of nurturing, because it's constant effort over time, and it's really just about the pleasure of doing it, and then maybe you'll find something great has grown out of it at the end. But really it's about enjoying that nurturing process and just tapping into growing something over time, you know. I think we're very used to instant gratification, so it's super rewarding when things take effort and time to come to fruition. Yeah, I think it's much more gratifying than when you just get that instant hit, right? When you don't have to work for something, you get over it pretty quickly. The novelty fades quite quickly because it wasn't earned, right? Anything really worth gaining is worth making an effort for. And part of making that effort is learning to enjoy the process as much as possible, even when it's uncomfortable or difficult. You know, it's not about it always being easy and fun, but it's about growing that resilience to be able to push through. Then number 4 is building a community through support. So what I mean by that is being there for others and allowing other people to be there for you as well. I think in my culture, it's very common to not want to burden people with what's really going on, with your true emotions, or even just your true self, as messed up as that is. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it boggles me how it all got to be this way. But, you know, whatever. I think we sacrifice a lot for the sake of politeness, including ourselves, and it's not healthy. But what I mean to say really is that building a community, and it doesn't have to be anything huge, is really valuable and important, because without it, we feel isolated and alone, and we're not really contributing, right? Because like if you're not contributing towards your community, I think it's easy to feel like you lack value and you lack purpose. And I'm not saying it needs to be anything grand. I'm just saying we need friends that we can really rely on to be there for us, and sometimes if you don't have that, the best way to feel and build connection is to be that for somebody else. If you feel like you don't have that, be that thing that you wish you had, that you needed for somebody else. And it can be incredibly healing. I think sometimes we make the mistake of putting the burden on others instead of taking responsibility and acting on our own accord. So yeah, for me, it's a really big part of my optimism practice is to make the effort to reach out to people that I care about, who I love, that I value, and make sure that they know that. And yeah, I don't know, I kind of made it a focus last year in 2024 to put an effort into my relationships, and it's helped me tremendously. I feel much more connected. I feel like I'm not so existentially alone and isolated anymore. And I made the mistake of falling into a bit of a victim mentality. I think it's easy to do when it feels like you don't have a lot of friends or whatever. Sometimes you just need to make that effort, and then again, it's about nurturing and about being there for others. Yeah, I think it's really been very valuable for me. Okay, and number 5 is yoga. Yeah, so I'm not telling you to do yoga, but for me, it has really changed my life. I started doing it when I was in high school. I was 15. It was the first time I tried yoga. I had a friend who was a teacher, a certified teacher already at that time, and her dad was also an instructor. And yeah, I went to their classes, and yeah, it immediately connected with me, or I connected with it, whatever you want to say. But it's very, very valuable, I think. Firstly, exercise, movement, whatever you want to call it, really is kind of instrumental to our mental health. And I think it's not fully recognized as really a very, very basic antidote for anxiety and depression. I think obviously not everything's going to work for everyone, and you have to really find what works for you. But for me, it's yoga. It helps to calm my mind. It is flexible in the sense that it can be either relaxing and cooling, calming, or it can be fiery and intense and really challenging. And there's value in all of those, So what I really love about it is that it just gives me time to connect to my body, and the breathing is very soothing, and connecting your breath and your movement I also find particularly therapeutic. It really, really, really helps to calm an overactive mind and to just rebalance your nervous system. And then of course, like, the movement itself is also just very, yeah, it just feels so good. So can't recommend it enough. There's so much free yoga available out there if you're on YouTube, that it really is very accessible, and there's so many different styles and approaches, and I think honestly it's changed my life, and I think it can really change everybody's life, because it's not really just about the exercise, it's about, again, nurturing yourself and your body, and showing up for yourself, telling yourself that you matter and that you're worthy of being taken care of, and that you don't have to find that externally. You can be that for yourself. Yeah. Then my last bonus is personal time. I think very, 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 very important for pretty much everyone, and maybe not everyone realizes this. I grew up as an only child, so I had a lot of personal time. Maybe too much, I would say. But now I find it really very valuable for just resetting and recalibrating and just feeling like, the thing I was speaking of earlier about being able to feel gratitude for your responsibilities, for even having them. Obviously that's not going to be the same for everyone, but yeah, I think we all have something to be grateful for. And personal time kind of gives me the breathing space to be able to see that again when I am feeling bogged down and heavy and just weighted down by obligation. It really helps me to regain perspective and to find my own sense of self within all these things that I'm doing. Yeah, I think it's very important to give that time to yourself and show yourself that you're there for yourself again, that you have intrinsic value, and even if you don't do anything quote unquote valuable, that doesn't really matter. The point is that you're showing up for yourself, you're at ease with yourself. Yeah, so I think obligation-free personal time with yourself is my personal tonic. Without it, I feel a little bit lost. So yeah, those are my 5+ bonus habits for staying optimistic in my mindset, for feeling connected, for feeling valued, for feeling like I'm there for other people, for feeling like life is worth living, for many things. A feeling of fullness and satisfaction with simply existing, which I think really is what a lot of people are looking for, right? You want to feel peace, inner peace. And these are all ways for me to cultivate that balance and regain neutrality. Again, it's not about always being happy or energetic or, never feeling sad or upset or frustrated or whatever. But it's about being able to hold space for all of that within your life and not feel like any one of those things is it all, right? It's about being centered, being neutral, being an observer and not a judge. Yeah. So that's it. Let me know if there's any comments or anything you want to care about or whatever. Yeah, like if you like, don't if you don't. I mean, if you don't like it, why are you still watching? Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, stick around if you wanna hear more about this kind of stuff. Yeah, this is still only my second video after my intro. So yeah, we'll see where this goes, but I'm excited to keep going. And yeah, hopefully this can provide some value to somebody. That's, if one person finds value in this, that's all that matters. So yeah. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you and goodbye.